Okay, so hello everyone who has joined already. You are welcome and Happy New Year. It's definitely going to be an even greater year, a better year by God's grace. You know, I think it's really about the timing of this conversation. And of course, naturally, people have business plans, yearly plans, annual commercial plans, annual brand plans, and of course, annual personal brands as well, plans as well. So when we are setting our goals, when we're defining what we will focus on 2021, did I just say 19? 2021, it's critical to really learn the how to do things. Because of course, there's a lot about goal setting these days. Everybody's talking about, set your goals at the beginning of the year and the rest and you can set goals. But the one, what is the main differentiation is the one who executes. So to learn how to execute, which is part of what you're going to be teaching us today, I think it's just perfect timing and perfect content for us to be able to absorb from, to make a difference in our businesses in this current year. So looking forward, Precious, you're welcome. E-learning, fantastic. I think that if any part of business needs real branding in today's world, it is e-learning.
It's e-learning,
true. Indeed. Kolawole, okay, thank you. You're into cosmetic production, mainly into hair care products. Founder of Mator. Is it Mator or Matore?
Mator Organic Care.
Fantastic. Cosmetics. Very nice. In my experience, those are real high margin categories.
Very high margin.
Yes, indeed. So Atinuke, for you, okay, clock struck midnight, became 2021. What is that big thing you want to achieve this year?
A big thing that I want to achieve this year.
If you don't mind sharing with us.
Mine is, okay, I'm going to talk about business-wise now. Mine is actually around revenue and online. The one big thing that I want to achieve this year is to move maybe 90% of my business online. Like literally move almost everything online. Because I've seen that, look, at the end of the day, we're in the fourth industrial revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution is about Internet of Things, connecting, digital. And then COVID has even shown us that, look, you have to start thinking of how to be online.
Absolutely.
So my one big thing in 2021 is how to be more efficient, especially online, in such a way that I'm making regular impact, regular income, all online without a physical presence. So that's the one thing.
I love it. I really love it. And I join you completely in that, that life has moved online, right?
Yeah.
And you look at the second wave now. Look at the countries that we look up to. They're locking down again. We know that our economy and the rest, it's highly unlikely that we can afford to lock down again. However, everyone is 10 times more careful than they ever were before. Even though we have a full set of people who don't believe that it exists, well, okay.
Which is amazing. Like, I find it really unbelievable.
And so I think the key thing is a lot more will even happen online. We have a minute to 5. But I tell you something really, of course, schools have moved online, quite a while back. And my little one is just in year 1. So it's a young child. And didn't know how to use PowerPoint. And I've never bothered, right? But now he's so good at it, so good with Microsoft Teams. And the interesting part is that my nanny, who is an OND holder, did not even know how to put on a system.
Can you imagine?
By the time this online schooling started, she has become so computer literate.
I'm telling you, and you'll be shocked at what even your kids will be teaching you. Like, they pick it up so quickly, and you're like, where is all this coming from? So it probably has its really bad side, but it has forced us to think outside our boxes and just reinvent ourselves. And
I completely
can't just stop not continually reinventing ourselves along the line.
Correct.
So I'm going to mute a little now. Am I looking a bit dark? I want to see if I can put on additional lights. Just 1 minute.
Completely up to you, Atinike, but I'm going to start anyway. You can sort the things you want to sort out. So good evening, everyone. Happy New Year again. We're going to continue saying Happy New Year till the end of January anyway, but because this is our very first Tech Biz for this year, I'm so excited. I think that 2021, by God's grace, is going to be an even better year. It is that year where we will put things into execution, where we've defined our goals, we will execute flawlessly, and of course get the right kind of results that we're all ambitioning for. Thank you for consistently joining on us. I'm happy to have you all on. Can I start with something? We've talked about New Year resolutions, and a lot of people talk about gratitude. There are two people that I want to recognize on Tech Biz. One is Bola Tito Olajumoye, and the other one is Elvis Kolawole. These two people keep working at the background. You don't see them, right, so often. And they always make sure that everything happens on Tech Biz flawlessly, Thursday after Thursday. I really appreciate you. The entire community appreciates you, and we just want to say thank you. People on the call, if you don't mind, please, you can type in your thank you into the chat box. I think it's important to recognize people and appreciate them. Thank you, Tito. Thank you, Elvis, for everything that you do to make this a success. All right. Okay. Tinuke is back. So
yes, I'm back.
This afternoon, we're going to be talking about brand building. You want to brand it, right? Key thing is people talk about branding, and sometimes we think it's just about positioning. Sometimes we think, we have different perceptions of what it is and what is not. For me, who has been in FMCG for the last almost 20 years, I know that branding is everything. Right? Branding is what makes the difference between Milo and Bonvita. Branding is what makes the difference between Homo and Ariel, right? In that FMCG sector, you see how important, how they anchor everything on the brand perception, the brand equity, the content that they deliver in order to manage your own expectation and manage your perception of the brand. Why aren't we doing the same thing for our businesses in order to generate the kind of revenue that we desire, and of course the kind of profits that we have the potential to generate? So that's what Atinuke Babatunde is going to be sharing with us today. I am looking forward. I'm a marketing expert by all terms.
Are you sure you shouldn't be doing this presentation?
There's always scope to learn. There's always scope to learn. And the marketing world changes every single day.
Very true.
Okay, I think I was just being interrupted. So, Atinuke, you are welcome. We thank you for joining us, and we are looking forward to what you have to share. I'm not going to introduce you because I know you have a slide on your introduction, and I leave it to you because you are the best one to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Roger, should I go on?
Yes, please. It's over to you.
Okay, all right, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and I'm super excited to be here this evening. Once again, I want to say thank you to the team at Eco Innovation Center for inviting me. Special thanks to Elvis for coordinating and making sure I'm here at this time, because he called me like 30 minutes ago, just calling to I said, calm down, I'm ready.
Efficiency.
Yeah, it's really efficiency. So let's not waste any minutes. Let's go straight into it. Today, like Roger said, we're talking about branding, building the ultimate brand in 2021. That's what we're going to be doing today. Now, let's talk about your branding. Let's just go straight. But before we go straight into talking about your branding, I want to introduce myself a little. Let me, we'll talk about that after you know me a little, because sometimes when you want to talk to people are like, Okay, I'm not sure. This person that wants to talk to me, what gives her the authority? Where are the receipts? How do I know she's qualified to be talking about what she's going to talk about? This is a brief, very brief description of who I am. My name is Atinuke, and I'm the founder of Brand Fusion, like I already explained earlier. I help people just like you. Most people here, I believe, are entrepreneurs, business owners. I help you with your branding and marketing. Now, I come with over 18 years experience, and everything I've done in my 18 years is around marketing, business strategy, and brand management. I have an MSc from the University of Lagos and an MBA from the prestigious, always like adding it, prestigious Lagos Business School in Nigeria, where I graduated with distinctions in marketing, entrepreneurship, and strategy. So it's not a wonder why I seem to be passionate about these three topics. Even in school, I was passionate about them, and I graduated in distinctions in those three subjects. I'm currently a doctoral research student at Edinburgh Business School, and I'm planning, by God's grace, in 4 years to be known as Dr. Mrs. Atinuke. And it's all around the area of business management and helping you with your brand. I'm a member of,
Speak it into being.
yes, I'm speaking it into being.
We're
In March
counting down for you.
2018, thank you, I was elected as one of the 200 women from 52 African countries from an application of over 2,000 women. And currently, I'm a member of the board of African Women Entrepreneurship Cooperative. And then in 2019, I was also selected as one of the top 50 women in corporate Nigeria, because like I said, all my life I've been in the corporate world. I was in Airtel. I left as the senior brand manager. So branding is something that I'm passionate about. I've been doing branding for a long, long time. I'm currently a Cherry Blair Foundation mentor alumni. I've mentored women in Wimby's Lighthouse Network, and I'm also a mentor in the Lagos Business School MBA mentoring scheme. So basically, this is me. And the reason why I'm setting this foundation is so that you know that the things I'm going to talk about are things that I've studied, things that I've worked with, things that I'm applying even in my own business. So let's continue straight into it. So the next question I hear a lot of people say is, why do I need to brand my business? Why? What's the big deal about this branding? After all, I'm selling. I have connections and I'm selling. So what is the big deal in branding? Well, the big deal is in this present world we live in today's world, with everything we've seen, with changing worlds, with, you know, formerly it used to be, I'll build it and they will come. In the past, it used to be, I'll open the store and people will walk in and ask me, what do you sell? It's no longer the same thing. Now you have to show people what you do and what you sell. And so there are four main reasons why you need to brand. There are many reasons, many, many reasons. If we were to sit down and just talk about the benefits of branding, I'm sure we'll use up the 1 hour. But I'm going to talk about just these four reasons why you need to brand your business. The first one is branding differentiates you from the other businesses in the market. Just like Doja said when she was introducing, it is what differentiates one brand from the next. So there are 10 of you doing the same thing, selling the same thing, marketing to the same people. It's your brand that will differentiate you from the next person. It's your brand that will make me say, I'm not going to buy from this guy, I'm going to buy from that person. So that is one thing branding does for you. The second thing it does is it helps you command a premium in your pricing. So maybe there are 10 of you selling basically the same thing. However, because you've branded your business and positioned it in such a way that there is a premium, people will make excuses for you. People will say, there's just something about this brand that makes me want to buy it. And so you're able to command a premium and say, I want to charge a little extra. I'm sure a lot of us have seen people that increase their prices and we're like, from where to where now? Why is this one just increasing price like that? And then some other brands increase their price and we make justifications for them. We say, but you know that brand is this. We understand. And that's why one of the phone brands that I'm not going to mention, people will queue a day as they're bringing out their new, people will go and line up and sleep in the snow, waiting for them to open and bring out that new model. It's all about branding. It helps you command a premium in your pricing. The third thing is your branding helps you build brand loyalty for your business. So many things in the last couple of months, we've had things, people's proper businesses were destroyed. People had to start all over again. If you have a strong brand, it's easier for you to bounce back because there's a goodwill that surrounds your business, because you already have customers that you've built loyalty over time. So if you come back and say, oh, I had these challenges, but I'm back now, your loyal customers will come and follow you despite everything you've gone through. That is what one of the things branding does for you. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is it helps you create a demand for your products and services. There is a demand. People want to buy. People want to spend money with you. People want to say, this is the person I'm going with because I've branded it well. And so it's not, you cannot not brand your business. And it doesn't matter how small your business is. It doesn't. I hear a lot of growing businesses or people that are just starting. Oh, I'm just starting. I don't have the energy. That branding thing, I've heard about it, but wahala is too much. Let me just sell. When I sell first, then I'll think about branding. No, you must start thinking about branding from the beginning. From the beginning, from when you decide to start a business, you should also think about how you want to brand this business, because at the end of the day, you're building what is called brand equity. And your brand equity can be negative or positive. So it's good you start from the beginning and start being deliberate with that branding, and you're growing it and growing it. And then at the end of the day, you will have every reason to be happy and say, okay, I've built something that will last. The next thing we're going to talk about today is what is a brand? So I hear someone saying, you've told me the importance. Okay, I understand. I have a logo now. So I have a brand. I have a business name. In fact, business name is registered. I have a brand. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Your brand is not your logo. No. Your brand is not your business name. Your brand is not your color. No. All these things that I've mentioned, they are things that are called, they're all part of your brand identity, but they are not your brand. Your brand is made up of many other things: your equity, your brand experience, your brand communication, the way you've positioned your brand, all those things come together. However, these three things I've mentioned are really important, because the truth is, I want you to take it, let's see, I like using practical examples. So you give birth to a child, because your business is like a child, it's like something you're birthing. When you say, I want to start a business, it's like you're birthing something. You don't just birth that child and you say, anybody should call it whatever they want to call this child. Just call it anything. No. So when you give birth to that child, you give it, he or she, a name. So your brand name is important. We're not even going to say it's not important. Your logo is also important because it's like your identity. It's like what people will see and use in identifying you. And then your color is also an important part of your branding. So as important as all these three things I've mentioned are, they are not your brand. This is not what makes you a brand. It's not what makes you a brand. Your brand is everything you do around your business to make you stand out, to make you special, to make people differentiate you and say, this is what makes you different from the next person out there doing the same thing. One question a lot of people ask is this: so fine, you've told me why I need to brand, but it's must I really brand? And I'm here to tell you this evening that you must really brand. You must brand, because branding is if I've told you that branding is not your color, branding is not your logo, branding is not your business name, the next question is, so what is branding? What is branding? Branding is everything you do so that the customer sees you as the only one that provides a solution to their problems. That is what branding does. You can do your branding so well that the customer will say, I won't go to somebody else. I'm going to use this person. I'm going to work with this person because this person provides solution to my problems. And that is what your branding does. Your branding must be such that when they are thinking of 3 different people, 4 different people, 5 different people doing something that is similar to yours, your branding will stand you out. And the reason is very simple. The reason why you have to make sure that your customers see you as the solution to their problems is the reasons are simple. Number one reason, people have many choices and little time, many choices. Like these days, especially with the advent of the internet, your competition is a phone click away. Now I don't need to walk into a store. Now I don't need to search and ask people, oh, I want to go and buy so. Can you direct me to where I need to buy it? All I need to do is pick up a phone and just check. Go to Instagram, go to Google and look for what I'm looking for. So because people have many choices and they don't have time. They don't have time. Research has shown that the attention span of the normal human being now, especially on social media, is 7 seconds. 7 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You move on. So if you don't have anything compelling enough to catch them in that 7 seconds, you've lost them. And so your branding is what gives you that edge. Your branding is what will make somebody say, oh, I stumbled on this page and I like the way it looked. Let me wait and now go through and see what this person has to offer. It's your branding, is nothing else. Before people find out how good your product or your service is, there must be something that has hooked them. And that thing that hooks is your branding. Your branding is the thing that says, I need to find out more about this person. I've heard people say, I have a fantastic product. My service is great. When people use it, they will know that it's great. The challenge, however, is how do you get them to even use it? How do you get them to pause and use it? There must be something that attracts them. There must be something that attracts them to make them want to stop and use. And that thing is your branding. Your marketing, you can sell. I like, there's this analogy that people, I read it somewhere. It says marketing is asking a girl to marry you. You're asking that girl to marry, is marketing. You're marketing yourself. Branding is the reason why she will say yes. I repeat. So you can be marketing yourself. You're saying, marry me. That's marketing. It's good, nice things. But the brand is the reason why the girl will say yes or no. So in your business, no matter how great your marketing is, you're talking to the right people, you're saying, come and buy, come and buy. If I encounter your business and the branding is not strong enough to hold me, I will not say yes. I will not say yes. So people have many choices and little time to make up their mind. So you better have a good brand that will keep them. The second reason why you have to brand is most offerings have similar features and benefits. This image I've used, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, they're all the same features. The only difference is the color. They're all the same features. So because if you're selling bread, the next person selling bread is probably selling, bread is bread. You're selling hair, hair is hair. You're selling cosmetics, cosmetics is cosmetics. The features are usually similar. The benefits are usually similar. The only thing that will probably stand you out is how you've branded. And that is why you cannot afford to just not brand. You can't afford to say, oh, I'm doing similar things because everybody else is doing it. No, there must be something that. Okay, I was muted a bit. There must be something that stands you out and makes you different from everything that people are doing. And that is why branding is important. The third thing is we tend to base our buying choices on trust. Please, you drop in the chat. How many of you have bought something that you didn't trust the source? Yes, no. If you bought something that you didn't trust the source of where that thing was coming from, let me know in the chat. Because the truth is, we all don't buy things we don't trust. We tend to base our buying choices on trust. If exactly no, Esther said no, meaning that you don't buy things you don't trust. You only buy something that you trust. And the truth is, most of us are that way. If we don't trust something, we will not buy it. Your branding is what separates you and makes people to trust you. Your branding is what will make someone say, okay, this thing is really good. I can't buy what I don't trust. Thank you, Samuel. Just a few days ago, I was in a store and someone walked into the store and said, I want to buy, the person called a particular, I'm not going to mention the brand. It's a snack, a particular snack that we all, very common snack. Someone came in and said, I want to buy that snack. And the lady selling in the store brought out a similar, very similar, the same thing, the same branding. The only thing that was different was the name, and gave it to this person and said, and the person said, no, I want the original snack. The person called that name. And I sat down there, and for me, it was a learning moment because the person insisted, and I'm putting the person said, no, I want the original this. Now, it didn't mean that this other one was not good. No, there was nothing wrong with the one. In fact, this other one, for all you know, might even be better in terms of the ingredients and the things that was used to make it. However, because this other brand has spent time over the years to build that brand, people trust it. And so people would specifically ask for that thing because they've known it over time. And that is what you as a business owner must be thinking of, even as you're building that brand, even as you're growing it, because you need people to trust you and ask for your own products when they have a choice. The next question people ask is, okay, you've told me all these things now. I have a business, or I have a business idea. How do I start? How do I start this whole branding process? The branding process is not a one-day process. It's not something you do in one day. It has a lot of aspects to it. This image I've used, I have the bulb, the brand bulb in the middle. And under it, you will see advertising, focus, trust, product design, business quality, benefit, team, marketing. All these things are important when you're building your brand. You have to think about your brand experience. How do people experience my brand when they encounter me? What do they feel? How do they see it? What are the things that will make them want to stay with me? But the basics, and I usually say it, before you begin to do all these other things, before you begin to talk about your brand experience, your brand equity, you must have these 4 things in place. You must have these 4 things in place. A lot of business owners, I've checked today, I took time, there was a lady that spoke to me today. She said she wanted me to help her with her branding. And I asked if she was online and she said yes. And then I said, give me your handle, let me go and check. And she gave me a handle and I went there. She was posting nice stuff and all, but there was no logo. The first thing when you're starting your business, you have a brand name. It's assumed you have a brand name. You must have a brand name. Now, in choosing that brand name itself, your brand name will determine whether that business will survive or not. Your brand name determines, I tell people, your brand name is a big, big factor. It's a big thing that will determine whether your business will survive or whether it will die even from the beginning. The big organizations that you see with the many big brand names, I'm not going to mention brand names here, but I want you to think about every big organization you know. Just close your eyes for 1 second and think about them. They usually have names that are specific and unique about them. There are 4 things that you must remember when you're choosing a brand name. 1, you must choose a brand name that is unique to you. Don't choose a brand name that other people are using, because what will happen is you're building brand names that other people are using and then you're not able to distinguish. So I hear your brand name, but somebody else is also using it. And at the end of the day, there's no difference. The second thing is, remember that your brand name should be a name that is simple. That simplicity is very important. Think of any big organization you know. Most of them, their brand names are simple, 2 syllables or 1 syllable. not long, it's just simple. And that's why if you look at my brand name, Brand Fusion, it's 2 syllables, it's 2 words. You see some people's brand name very long, and then people don't remember. I've had situations where I wanted to buy something, I just couldn't remember the brand name because it was so long. So in choosing your brand name is a very important thing. Remember, your brand name should be unique. It must be simple. It must be simple. Your brand name has to be simple. The third thing is, please register that brand name. That's one mistake that business owners make. I was talking to a business owner the other day, and she told me her brand name, very nice name, and we're like, oh, fine, and all. I now said, you know what, have you registered? She said, no. I said, quickly go and register. She came back a few days later to say the name was gone. Meanwhile, for over a year, she had been operating and doing business with that name. She didn't have a bank account, so because the name was not registered. If you want to open a business bank account, you have to go with your business. And because she didn't register, she was just doing the business with the name. So a lot of business owners like us that are just starting, that are growing, we have a lot of, we do businesses 1 year, 2 years, and the names are not registered. That's a big disservice. So make sure you've registered that name. It's simple, it's unique, and it doesn't mean something negative or something that will cause problem in another land or in another person's language. There's this story that I usually talk about in terms of brand names. It's a popular, I'm not going to mention her name, a popular influencer, not in this country, outside the country, very popular. When I tell the story, most of us will know. She was about to start her clothing line. She was about to start her clothing line, and she named her clothing line a particular name. Now, when she announced this clothing line and the name, a set of people from a particular region, as I'm telling the story, I'm so sure some of you know the story, a set of people from a particular region came out to say, you can't name your clothing line that name, because in our country, it means it's a kind of dress that we wear that is very precious to us. We use it for ceremonies, for weddings, for kingship and all. So you naming your lingerie, she was opening a lingerie line, underwear line. They said no. There was a backlash on social media. Initially, she said she's not going to change the name, but at the end of the day, when the backlash was so much, she had to pull back that name. And at the end of the day, I found out that everything she had already created and designed with that name, she had to give them away. So do your research before you start that thing and make sure the name is right. The next thing is your logo. If you're here and you have a business and you're doing that business and you don't have a logo, you're doing yourself a great injustice. Remember what I said at the beginning, your logo is part of what is known as your brand identity. You're like somebody walking around without an ID card. You don't have an ID card. And so I go also on social media, I see people, a lot of people posting, no logo, not one single logo. So somebody else can come, take the body of work that you've created, use it to start their own pages, because there's no identity. You've not branded it. You've not put a logo. You've not owned it as your work. And what happens is you're building something that nobody knows, because your logo is what will differentiate you. Your logo is what people will see. Most of us know the big brands. If you see most of the big brands without seeing their name, just their logo, there's even a game that they'll just give you logos and tell you to name the brands. It's because over time, those people have established their logos in our minds. And so when we see just the logo, we get to recognize the brands. So please make sure you have a logo and you're using it consistently. It's one thing to have a logo and just have it there somewhere. When they ask you, oh yes, now I have a logo, Are you using it? Are you using it across all your platforms, your website, your social media, your handles? Are you using your logo everywhere? You have to use your logo consistently. The third thing is your brand colors. Please, please, I'm begging you people, don't have 5 colors and say it's your brand color. No. You've been going through this, my slides. If I go up, and come back, I'm sure some of you can guess what my colors are. Let me just, please, if you can guess what my colors are, just drop it in the chat. If you can guess what my brand colors are, just drop it in the chat. I'm just trying to go back up so that you see from the beginning. I have two main colors, but there's one that I use all the time. If you can guess what it is, drop it in the chat. Orange and white. Is it? I don't have to say it. It's there. You must be consistent with your brand colors in such a way that when people see that color somewhere else, it triggers. They remember your brand. They remember your brand. Sorry, Doja, I can't hear you. You're mute. I think.
You are right. I am on mute. Yeah, I said I want to take you up on something there. And this is one of the questions that people ask consistently, which is about owning a color, right?
Okay.
And the sheer number of, I mean, because you may think that there's a limited number of colors. How do I own a color when already there's a big brand owning it, right? So as an example, you have orange and white, and yes. Certainly GT Bank has orange. Orange exactly. Telco has orange. You know, a few other, really big brands have orange as well. Where does that leave, the small business owner who's thinking of owning red when there's big Coca-Cola, there's big Airtel?
Cool.
Where does that leave?
I love this question you asked. The thing about choosing a brand color is not so much about owning it. It's not so much about owning it. The reason why you must have a brand color is because of what that color triggers in the mind of the consumer. So when you're choosing a color, you're not choosing it so much that I'm going to own it, it's going to be mine. No, because like you said, there are big brands that own those colors, and all the colors are put in this pencil. Really, there's limited number of colors you can choose. However, your colors trigger something in the mind of the consumer. Proven research. Go online and check it out. There's a research that shows that your colors trigger a certain thing in the mind of the consumer. So you have to be deliberate when choosing your colors. When I started Brand Fusion, I wanted people that come to the brand or that encounter my colors to feel confident, to feel warm, to feel welcome. That is what the orange color represents. And so whether you like it or not, there's a certain thing being triggered in the mind of the consumer when they see your colors. And so when you're choosing your colors, don't choose it so much because you want to own it. Choose it more because of your customer. What do you want to trigger in their minds? And it's not about you. It's not about you. So you might say my best color is black. And then you start a business and you want to color your business black. No, it's not about you. Will your ideal target customer, will the color black trigger the right kind of emotion in their minds? That's what you're asking yourself. Yeah.
Yes. And you are absolutely correct. Yes. And does it connect with your product or your service?
Does it connect? Yes. Yes. And that's why you see people in the agric business, they use green. Check most foods because green represents life, freshness, health.
Vegetation, the right harvest, the flourishing of
exactly.
Of the farm.
Then you see people, have you ever seen any accounting firm that has pink as their color?
Really?
Red.
Really? Red means negative
yes,
result.
because red is energy hyperactive. But if you want to deal with somebody that will take care of your money, you want somebody that you will trust. And so the color blue, the color white, the color black, all those things connote trust. And so when you look at like law firms, accounting firms, all these things are deliberate. Yes. When organizations brand, they do them deliberately. So when choosing your brand color, you must think about what emotion do I want to trigger in the minds of my customers. When I work with clients, especially the ones that are just starting their businesses, we always go through that color map of what each color stands for. And so I always tell them, before you choose a color, someone will say, my best color is gold, so my brand color is gold. I say, it's not about your best color. Will the color gold trigger what you want in the minds of the consumer? For instance, you want to start a school for kids, and then you say your best color is black. And so you're going to use black for the school. It won't work. If you're going to start the school, you're going to use bright colors, yellow, orange, pink, because that is, you want to attract the kids and their parents. So in choosing your colors, you must make sure that it triggers, it's the right thing in the mind of the consumer. So it's not so much about owning that color, it's about what is it triggering in the mind of the consumer. And then the last thing before I finish, because I'm mindful of time, you said 30 minutes for the presentation. This is the last thing. The last thing is the story. Tell your brand stories. And people have asked me, what do you mean by telling my brand story? It's very simple. We live in a world now where most of us are on social media. Most of us are, the people that have physical working stores are very few. And even if you have a physical working store, you still have to operate on the social media platform. Your brand story is, what is it that made me start this business? Why did I choose to begin to do these things? The reason why your brand stories are very important is you're probably going to connect with someone else that has a story similar to you, or that your story will trigger something in them. I always tell my brand story of how I started Brand Fusion. Brand Fusion started online. I had it as a business without, I wasn't really doing much because I had a full-time job. You know, I have a full-time job that I love and that I'm doing. I love the full-time job. However, my brand story about, when I tell this brand story, people are always shocked. And then they're like, how? I started Brand Fusion about 3 years ago on Instagram. If you ask me, how did I start it? I went for a program in 2017. And in that program, I've never had a Facebook account, never had an Instagram account, didn't know how social media works. I was a complete novice of digital media. I went for that program in 2017. At the end of the program, they said, you know, they were taking pictures of the program. And I said, at the end, I went to the guy taking the pictures and I said, let me give you my number so you WhatsApp the pictures to me. And he said, oh, don't worry, just give me your Instagram handle. I will tag you when we post. And I was like,
silence.
Silence. I said, tag, which one is tag? But I didn't say anything. I kept quiet. I left. That was how I didn't get any picture because I didn't have an account. They couldn't tag me. I left. Then I went for another program in Lagos Business School, a women leadership program. And at the end of the program again, the same thing. I went to the guy and said, let me give you my number. Please send me, WhatsApp me. And he said, don't worry, just give me your Instagram handle. I will tag you. At that point, I knew there was a problem. I had no social media presence, nothing. Nobody knew about me. This was just 2.5 years ago, September precisely. Okay, 3 years ago. Yes, I didn't have a Facebook account. So I got home. I told myself, today I'm going to see what this Instagram is. I downloaded the app, got in there, created the page with Atinuke Babatunde, and then I got into a world that I didn't know existed. I saw people posting, slaying pictures, all sorts, and then I started posting small. But I knew that there was no way I could cope with the slaying and all that. But I had seen enough to see that there was a potential. And so I deleted the handle. After struggling and gathering 300 people, followers, I didn't know you could change the name. I deleted the whole handle and they created a new. You're laughing. I deleted it. I didn't know. I now created a new handle and called it Brand Fusions. And I asked myself, what do I want to be doing with this thing? I said, okay, I want to be teaching people branding, marketing. I love talking about branding, so it doesn't cost me anything. I'll just be posting it there. And that was how I started. Doja, that account today, 3.5 years ago, has 35,000 followers. I knew nothing about digital media. I didn't have a Facebook account. But I've built a business on that account. And I tell my brand story everywhere I go because it encourages some people. I was already almost 40. So I wasn't a millennial. People will say, hey, social media is for millennials. It's a lie. It has nothing to do with millennial. If you have a value that you want to give and you're ready to learn, you will learn and you will use it. Today, remember what you asked me at the beginning. Today, that's my social media handle, is making me income from all over the world. I have online school. I have an online school, the Brand Fusion Academy. I have students from Canada, from America, from South Africa, all over, all online. That is my brand story. So you must tell your brand story of how you started, what motivated you, because it has a way of connecting other people and making you, maybe you started the hair products because your hair was breaking and nobody, you didn't see people that were making the kind of, and you decided to start. It's a brand story. It's a brand story. I had a client that when she came to me, she was shy. She didn't know what to talk about. And then one day she told me about her story, how her husband was a very big time businessman in the oil and servicing business. And then one day he lost everything. One bad business decision, he lost everything. And then she started to start all over again. I told her, I asked, what do you do now? She said she teaches women, how to manage their business, have a side business, not to be stranded. I said, that is a brand story. Start telling that story. She went on LinkedIn, created the page and told her first brand story. She called me with excitement. She had over thousands of views. People were reaching out to her. Today, she has a thriving business just helping people with her story.
Amazing. I think, Atinuke, there are three things that I have taken from that story, right? One is the power of determination, right? It's never too late. You said 3.5 years ago. I'm like, what? 2017?
Yes. September 2017. In September last year, I was 3 years. 35,000 followers, paying cost. I get paying people, paying.
Fantastic. I think that determination to say, listen, I'm going to do it and I'm going to make it happen. And it's never, ever, ever too late. This is the time that you have woken up. Okay, there are millions of people on social media. As at 2017, when you joined, there were already people slaying and people already, amplifying, influencers and the rest on Instagram. But here you were in 2017, you joined and, the rest of it is history.
And I was determined.
Look at what you have gathered. I think the third thing for me is thank you for sharing that story. And the story is so authentic that it helps us to connect completely with it. So the ability to tell your story, and let me refer the audience to one of the presentations that we had a few months back. It's about storytelling. So if you don't know how to craft your own story, your story is your story, right? But there's a certain way that you want to deliver it that generates interest in a certain concise way, and of course bringing in both the fact and the emotion. So we have, there was someone who had come to share with us how to tell your own story and how to craft it in a way that it garners the level of interest that you want. So you can go to ecoicenter.com/webinar. You would see storytelling, a guide to building,
it's very important.
Telling your own story,
very
so that it then becomes one of the tools that you use for your brand building, as Atinuke is talking about. There are quite a number of questions already in the chat room.
And let me just round up. I'm actually, so let me round up now.
All right, let's do that.
I've talked about your logo, your colors, your brand name, and your story. And the next slide is just asking, are you ready? Are you ready to build this brand? I've seen the questions as well.
Okay, so we'll start with the ones in the ones in the chat box. There were some questions that were asked prior, which was when people were registering, they did ask a few questions. But let's connect it very quickly to what you were talking about, colors. And someone is asking, how do you create a logo? What are the maximum number of colors? So how do we execute in this path?
Okay, so creating a logo is, there are certain things to consider when creating a logo, and there are many logo designers out there, many people. You can create your own logo by going even online. There are different apps and sites and softwares that you can go to and create. The reason why I'm not very comfortable with those ones is you can go and create a logo and somebody else goes there and creates the same logo.
The same thing,
yeah. So I'm usually not very comfortable with all those sites to create. But there are many designers that for a small fee, they will create a logo. What you must always remember, however, is your logo must blend in with your brand name and the whole essence of your brand, so that your logo is not standing in isolation. Exactly. Ajayi Raphael is saying creating logo is pretty. It's actually very easy. There are many people out there that can help you, but just make sure that there is a connection. For instance, if you look at my brand logo here, up here, Brand Fusion, it's a B and then an F infused on the B. Meaning, there's a fusion. Then
fusion,
when you see Brand Fusion, the I is not big enough, but the I is like a bulb, the light bulb. And the essence is so that when you come to Brand Fusion, there is an awakening in your mind that opens your mind up. So you must think about it. It must be deliberate. Don't just create a logo because you feel like it. You must think about your vision, your mission, and what you want to achieve for that brand.
Fantastic.
Then the other question was about your colors. Ideally, don't make your brand colors more than 3. Don't make it more than 3, but you must have one dominant one that people will easily recognize. So I usually, my main colors are orange, white, and gray. So if you look at these edges, you see gray. Even the logo it's orange and gray. This white, this F you see here, it takes the color of whatever I place it on. So here the F is white, but if I go down, if you check somewhere else, you see that the F here is orange because it's placed on an orange, and it's because of that fusion. I'm saying we fused your brands together. So this is my F. Whatever color I place it on, it takes the color of that thing. So usually your color should not be more than.
But what would you say that maybe it could be, right, industry specific? Because I do see some schools, right, especially schools that are elementary schools, who have quite, wide, vibrant.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that the only exception will be if you're in the children's business.
Okay, that's
I have a client that sells kiddies clothes, and she has like 5 colors splashed all over. But even in that, she has a dominant. You must have one dominant one, especially maybe for your social media posts, so that there's a form of uniformity. There's a coherence with the
clear identity.
Yes, clear identity. So even if you have many colors, there must be one that you should use more often, that people, especially on social media, but you don't want people to come to your social media and see all sorts of colors all over the place. So just
So, I mean, anyone who wants to ask their question verbally, please feel free to raise your hand so that the team can unmute you and then you can ask your question. But if you don't want to, feel free to use the chat room. I'm still going to take you to some of the pre-questions, but let's look at this one about storytelling. For me, that is one topic that I'm always so excited about. It is not a complex thing, but sometimes we think it is complex. Now, how to tell a story? So, how does one create an attention-grabbing story? How do you create an eye-catching brand? But maybe let's talk about the storytelling, because Daniel said that he missed that section. And I'd like you to really bring us to the point of authenticity, because everyone, we can see through it. When we read a story and we think, come on, what is this one talking about?
Yes.
Somewhere, but how does one tell an attention-grabbing story?
See, the truth is, like you said, you can't do without authenticity. It's not possible. You can't tell a brand story if it's not real. No matter who you are, we all have stories, especially if you're a business owner, even if you're not a business owner. But I'm assuming everybody here is a business owner. Why did you start the business you started? Why did you just think about it? Even if it's because you needed additional income, there is something that made you want to have additional income. It's a story. Your story is your why. That's just it, your why. I started Brand Fusion because, like I said, I loved talking about branding and marketing. When I was doing my MBA in my class, a lot of my colleagues or my classmates were always coming to me when it came to marketing. Any question around marketing, I was the go-to person. If there's a presentation in my group, I was the go-to person. If they wanted to start a business, I was the person they will ask around brand. So I told myself that there's a space, there's something here. So in telling your story, you must be true to yourself. Don't try to force it. And that's why I'm not ashamed to tell people that as of 2017, I didn't know anything about Facebook. It's my story. It's authentic. It's true to me. I didn't know. Tag me. I didn't know what tagging was. But I went and I learned. So in telling your story, just ask yourself, what is my why? What is my why? Why am I doing this thing? From that why, then you begin to tell the story.
I think you're spot on. You're spot on. I absolutely agree with you about your why. Why did you start this business? Yes. What is the why behind it all, or maybe even your decision? Some other aspects could be your experience while you're running the business, right? Maybe you experience with suppliers, you experience with employees, and those. Please, your stories don't have to be negative. It can be positive. You can have positive experiences with your employees, and you tell the story of it. It could actually just be, customer stories are so fantastic, especially when you satisfy a customer, you've stretched beyond for a customer, and the customer recognizes accordingly. Feel free to share those stories consistently. You don't have to mention the customers' names, but that means that you know, first is it helps your audience connect with you better. It also helps the audience see behind of your business, the behind the scenes. And at that point, there's an emotional connection, and people are even drawn to want to come hear more about that business. Now I want to unmute Pamela, because Pamela is one of your students. I know she wants to talk about more. Okay, Pamela, please accept.
She is. Pamela is one of my students.
Please ask your question.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, Pamela.
I'm actually on
Hi, Pamela.
Hello, I'm actually on the road.
We can see you on the road.
But I know I wouldn't miss this for the world. I love listening to Atinuke. I love learning from her. So, thank you so much. Thank you. She said she pulled down her Instagram handle with 300 people. I just pulled down an Instagram handle of almost 4,000 followers because of Atinuke.
Yes.
After attending her brand Fusion Academy, I knew that my Instagram handle, Pamela Udoka, was just not it. I mean, I had a lot of content, brilliant content, you know, but it was not just it. So, yes. So, and then I asked a question about differentiating a personal brand from an organizational brand. She's going to answer that, but I asked that question because people come to me as Pamela Udoka, and then you will not say, Auntie Pam, help me. Auntie Pam, I need help. Dr. Pam, I need. I said, no, I can't continue like that. I can't continue helping people and running services for free. I finished a 2-hour TV program, and people came to my DM and asked me, please help me. I said, no. So I pulled it down. I said, if I'm coming back with all the things I've learned from my coach about branding, I'll put up my organization now, Family Wellness Center. I put Family Wellness as, as a handle. And then let me see the command approach me to be doing free wellness, you know. So thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thanks, Pamela. Thanks.
Fantastic, Pamela.
She's correct. Pamela was, when she told us she was pulling after the 1 month program, because it's usually the 1 month program with only women. She actually told us, and she pulled out. She already had 4,000 followers, but the positioning wasn't right, and she knew that she couldn't continue in that same positioning.
Yeah, so never be afraid to start again. I think that's the message, and thank you, Atinuke, for that. And we're right at that point where I would like for you to announce, we're not selecting yet. Atinuke has offered 1 slot for this fantastic brand fusion training for 1 female. It's a training. It's a 1 month training that ordinarily costs 100,000 naira. And Atinuke has offered 1 slot to one of our audience members today. That audience member has to be female, so this is very gender specific.
Gender specific.
Yes, and definitely someone who has a business. So please get into the chat box and please indicate if you are interested. If you are interested, you need to just say quickly what is your industry and maybe a little justification on the why. And then we'll go into the chat box just before we finish to make that selection. 1 female business owner has a slot in the brand fusion training that Pamela has just spoken so positively.
Yes, and it's starting tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Fantastic. Awesome. It's all online, right?
It's all online. We meet every Fridays at 8 p.m. between 8 and 10 every Friday. So it will start tomorrow, and then it will end the last Friday.
It doesn't matter where you are located. So it doesn't matter where you're located. It doesn't
matter where you're located.
You can attend the training. So someone is talking about a fashion brand, right? Okay. And she would like for you to use the example of a fashion brand for brand building. I think in this case, I will, I like for us to keep talking about the storytelling because people are shy about it and people hold back on it. So if I had a fashion brand, right, and I wanted to create that brand online, you know, have a strong digital presence with the right perceptions about my brand, what would is there anything specifically that I would need to do differently for fashion?
Yes. So for fashion, I have a lot of business owners that are also in the fashion brand. And the thing with fashion is usually about ego. That's the truth. Fashion is usually about how you make me feel. Because if I'm coming on social media to look for fashion, it means that I'm not looking for it as a Maslow's psychological, in terms of Maslow ranking,
the hierarchy of needs.
Clothing, there's shelter. If I'm coming on social media to look for clothing, I'm not looking for basic clothing. No, I'm looking for something that will make me feel good. So in the fashion industry, you have to be very, very what people see. It's a lot about what are people seeing, your images, your picture, what are the kinds of things you're posting? Are you just posting clothes there? I had one of my students in the Brand Fusion Women's Academy. She's also into fashion. And then I studied her page. She would just post this nice top, 2,000 naira, send a DM. Nice shoe, 1,000 naira, send a DM. And I said, it's not going to work. It's not, because you're not the only one selling nice clothes and nice shoes. So in the fashion industry, of course, first you have to make sure you have your name, your logo, your colors in terms of distinguishing your brand. Then in terms of how you appear, people need to see that enthusiasm. And in the fashion brand, a lot of the human aspect comes in. I know it's very difficult. Most people say, oh, I don't want to show my face. You might not show your face, but there must be a physical representation.
A model.
There has to be a model. It makes it faster when there's a model modeling the clothes, telling us why we should buy those clothes, telling us how we can style the clothes. It's not just about buying. Teach people, how can you style this? What kind of shoes and bag can you match with this? What kinds of occasion can you wear this? Your fashion business must be a lot about educating your customers and making them feel different, so that it's not that you're just selling. There must be that human interaction in that business.
Absolutely. It's really also, you are hitting on the head of understanding your customer, right? Having the right insights, your decision, your choices, your outlook, the brand that you're building has to be insights driven. Because you were talking about colors that are connected to your category, colors that your consumer or your customer will attract your customer. Now you're talking about fashion and you're saying, it's not just about selling. Understand what your customer needs. They've moved up in the hierarchy of needs, right?
Yes.
So actualization. Understand what they need.
Exactly. It's about actualization. They just want to feel good.
Yes, absolutely. The chat room is very busy. Huh?
In fact,
even someone is campaigning for their wife.
For the wife, I saw.
For his wife, and then the men are complaining that why is this gender specific?
Okay, so the reason why it's gender specific, I also have online classes that are not gender specific. That I have online schools. The Brand Fusion Academy is an online school. It's not then gender specific. You just sign in and I send you login details. The Brand Fusion Women's Academy, however, was developed, again, it's about brand story. It's about your brand story. So I struggled as a woman. I was shy. I didn't like showing my face. I didn't like coming online. I was running that page, for the Brand Fusion page, for a year without anybody knowing who it was. People thought it was a guy. They would come into my DM and say, hello, sir. Hello, sir. And I will answer. Yes, sir. And I would gist and talk because I didn't want to show my face. I thought it would be somehow, as a woman. However, when I decided after a year, because again, there's another thing called personal branding. When you're doing your personal branding, that's a different ballgame altogether. I wanted to build the personal brand, and you can't build the personal brand without showing your personality. So I had to come out. And when I came out, I'm not joking, I came out facially and started talking about the business. And within 3 months, I was getting invitations for speaking engagements. I was I'm not kidding. They were lodging me in 5-star hotels to come and speak. because they now saw the personality behind the brand.
Behind it, yeah.
And
so
it was because I
face
was a
to the brand.
woman, I was holding myself back. So I decided that, you know what, I'm going to teach women how to come out of themselves, how to position their brands, how to build, even if you are not a millennial, how to not, and if you come to my social media handle, you won't see one picture of my husband or my kids. I keep saying it, it's not about showing your, if you don't want to, you can be private and still have a personal brand online. And so when I tell the women that, they're like, are you serious? So I can actually, I say, yes, you can. And so I took it, that is what motivated the Brand Fusion Women's Academy. Because men don't have problem now. We men, you people are, you already you monopolized us. It's women that are trying to come out and also please bear with us. That's my mission.
I love it. Okay, let's go into the chat box quickly. Let's see. So we have Ayodeji, who is no leftovers. She makes moi moi. Imole, your fashion brand, tech enthusiast. Esther is about footwear. Saratu, did I miss that? Yes, health, business name, healing nature. And then, am I missing anyone? Vera is more asking a question about colors for hospitality industry. Stefan is campaigning for his wife, Olabisi. And then Oluwapomile, you didn't tell us your okay, yeah, you have your, her business name is Favorite Doctor, connecting users to quality, affordable healthcare remotely. And Sylvia, Norland ambassador and runs a stockist center in Owerri. Sandra makes and sells human hair. So where do you go? Look, well, if we start with fastest finger,
because I'm leaving it to you. This one has nothing to do with me.
Oh my goodness. All right, now that's tough, right? So I'm a fashion enthusiast, and that's the truth. Footwear industry really is one area that I think we also have. There's a lot of work to be done in that space, especially because she says that even after 2 years, she's in the path of rebranding, and she needs the training urgently because she wants to rebrand. So in my mind, it's about perfect, a full alignment of timing and also her organizational objectives. I see that there's a full connection here, and this training will really meet her need, considering that she wants to rebrand. What do you think, Atinuke?
I think it's fine. Unfortunately, I can't admit to everyone, and everybody has a strong point and all. But like you said, if
we wanted to apply for the course, for the rest of the people who have not won the slot but would still like to apply, how should they apply?
It's simple. These are my handles here. Just send me a text or WhatsApp, my Instagram page, just anyone. You can reach me on any of these numbers. Once it starts tomorrow, that's the thing. It starts tomorrow at 8 p.m. So if you want to still join, you still have between today and tomorrow morning to join. I'll send you login details and then we meet. And the beauty is after the 4 weeks, you can join a WhatsApp group where we continue the hand holding. And we're continuing even after the 4 weeks. So when you start implementing, we constantly chat in the group and all that.
Okay.
The program started in August, and right now we've had over 42 women because I only do 10 in a month. I don't do more than 10.
Okay, so there's only 10 in the month. So for anyone who wants to join, it has to happen immediately. I love it when you said those are my handles. I said this time 2017, you won't have been able to.
So see, I'm proud, Jim. As in, I'm very proud that I can see those are my handles. Like I actually have an Instagram. This time 2017, I didn't know what is Instagram. Talk less of handle.
Okay, great. So Esther Ajudeonu, you are the one who's getting the slot. Could you please send me ever so quickly send it to me privately, please, your email address so that we can get all of the details.
Esther, I'm happy for you. I promise you're going to be one of my, just go to my site and see the testimonials from my ladies.
I'm absolutely certain. I'm also looking forward to the outcome of the training for her, for her business, and also for the rebranding that she wants to. I want to believe that this will be the beginning of an outstanding trajectory for your business. I like when you talked about the community. Friends, we have a community, Tech Biz Nation, Tech Biz community, where we talk about various parts of your business, and we share a lot of information about how you can get funds, how you can build your go-to-market strategy, the kind of executions you can do, even some discussions about the economy. So Elvis has just shared right there the link. So please feel free, just click on the link. It's on Telegram, so you will need to download Telegram if you are not yet on Telegram, and then join the community. It's open to everyone. The Eco Innovation Center, you know where we are. We're in Ikoyi. We have co-working spaces. We accelerate businesses. So for those of you also on the line who already have an MVP, you have a minimum viable product, you've started your business, but you have defined 2021 as your year of acceleration, please reach out to us. We're here to, we would really be keen to support, particularly when your business is tech driven. Esther, I have not received your email address. I have not received your phone number. Please send to me privately quickly before I end the conversation, so that we can.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you, Atinuke. Is there something that we should have talked about that we didn't talk about?
I don't think so. The only thing that I want to say quickly is follow my handles, like I've said. I promise you, even there's so much to learn every day, and I show up every day. One of the things I think I didn't mention that I should mention here is when you're building a brand, consistency is very important. You need to show up every single day. You need to show up, and that's if you're showing up and you're creating value that is ideal for your targets. Value is relative. What is valuable to me might not be valuable, but you need to understand who this your target audience is and create value for them, and then you see. I also want to say I do one-on-one coaching. If you want to do one-on-one with me, you don't want the group, that's fine. You can also contact me here. Then the Brand Fusion Women's Academy, and then the online academy where you can log in anytime. You have access for a year. You just buy the course you want and you train yourself, and you also have me to answer those questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Atinuke. If you want the presentation, Elvis, please post the site. The presentation will be there. The video will be there, so you can go back there and re-experience the teaching and the learning from Atinuke today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Atinuke, for your time.
Thank you so much, Eco Innovation Center. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Quite insightful, and I will start to follow you right away.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone.
Have a wonderful evening and Happy New Year again. Bye-bye.
And you too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.